Danny Spencer, our association president, Mr. Regalbuto, you know, is that pronounced?
I think they all know me.
Yeah.
I think we do. Slightly.
I wanted to stop out and make an announcement to the band.
So I'm going to talk to you real quickly, make an announcement to you, and then I'm going to hand it over to Dan Spencer. I know that this year didn't start out the way any of us would have liked it to, but I know it's going to end on a fantastic note. Some bands have individuals who are staples. And when you think of that organization, when you think of Durning, you think of these people. The ones that have been through the wars, the trenches, and have stayed loyal and stayed true to the organization from day one. And if it wasn't for these individuals, maybe the organization wouldn't be here today. And it's important that this association recognizes that contribution that's given to individuals who love their organization and love this hobby as much as all of us do. So it is with my pleasure to say that I know that when I think of Durning, I know these next two individuals that I'm going to mention have always been gentlemen to me, along with the rest of the organization has always treated me great. But these individuals stick out in my head as two true gentlemen that bleed green and white. And it's with my pleasure to announce that for the class of 2025, the Philadelphia String Band Association Hall of Fame and Old Timers Hall of Fame, we are welcoming Joe Forster.
Yeah!
And all of our favorite, Joe Pomante. I'd like to hand it over to the Hall of Fame chairman, our esteemed chairman, Mr. Dan Spencer.
So this is a real pleasure for me as chairman of the Hall of Fame Committee for the String Band Association to be here this evening and to be a part of this celebration of Joe and Joe. Couldn't go wrong, right?
The JoJo Band.
And I'll just say that there's 11 members of the Hall of Fame Committee. All members of the Hall of Fame Committee have to be in the Hall of Fame to be on the committee. And it's a difficult decision because we get so many worthy nominations from the 14 string bands in the String Band Association that it takes hours and hours going through the resumes and having discussions and deliberations about who is worthy. And each year we can only pick so many, 3 or 4. But for this year, it was really a no-brainer, especially with Durning celebrating your 90th anniversary, and especially with Garden State String Band and the Durning String Band merging together. You have a great melting pot of great leaders. I'm going to talk about Joe Forster a little bit first because I was in the Garden State String Band with Joe Forster for many, many years, right? And Joe's been a mummer for 54 years. 54 years, and the same as me, 54. We're going on 55 years. And I know what Joe has done for the Garden State String Band and for the Durning String Band. I know when he was the president of the Durning String Band, the band was going through some tumultuous times. And Joe being the consummate gentleman, and a great quiet leader in his own way. Joe was never the type that wanted to be out front. Joe did his work quietly behind the scenes, but was a very effective leader for the Durning String Band. The many years that he put in, his wife, Joanne, congratulations, his daughter, Karen. So we have a legacy family here involved in the Durning String Band. It started out in Garden State, and I knew Karen when she was a baby at Garden State String Band. And so that's how far Joe and I go back. And like I said, Joe was just a quiet, unassuming leader, but was very effective in his leadership style. Not only for the Garden State and the Durning String Band, but we look at what he does outside in the community, and he's a great family man. And now he's with the Gloucester City String Band, which is a retiree band. So we look at all those things, and they check all the boxes that says Joe Forster should definitely be in the Old Timers Hall of Fame. So Joe, for your many years of service to Durning, Garden State, the Gloucester City String Band, the Philadelphia Mummers String Band Association, and the greater community, congratulations. Now we go from that quiet, unassuming leader.
What are you saying? What are you trying to say?
to the boisterous, boisterous. Wait a minute, cuz, you can't leave. Wait a minute, cuz. You gotta have one more. One more. You can't leave, right? If you run into the door to try and get out, Joe grabs you by the leg and pulls you right back. But Joe, I've watched you for many, many years living in Gloucester City, and you coming to Gloucester City to be the captain of the Durning String Band, and also helping out your neighbor, the Gloucester City String Band, you know, whenever they need a sax player and they call on you. But when you take a look at Asti Pomante, at Joe Pomante, you know that Joe is the glue that holds the Durning String Band together. There's no doubt in my mind.
Amen.
And when we read the resume and the great things that Joe has done for Durning, Joe's the type of captain that he's not worried about being in front of the band for the sake of himself. But if the band needs a sax player for a particular job or parade, Joe grabs his sax and he goes back in line and he puts somebody else out in front of the band, because that's what good leaders do. If it's needed, that's what Joe does. If the trash needs to be taken out at the Durning Clubhouse, Joe does it. If the lot needs to be cleaned up, if props need to be built, you know Joe Pomante is right on top of all the things. And Joe's been a great ambassador for the String Band Association as a captain of the Durning String Band and the greater community. Joe always makes sure that Durning is involved in the community, whether it's the Gloucester City Cleanup Day, or whether it's taking food to the Gloucester City Police Department and the Gloucester City Fire Department. When COVID hit, I watched and observed Joe Pomante serving the greater community of Gloucester City. Not just the Durning String Band and the String Band Association, but the greater community. And I'm telling you, you have a great leader in Joe Pomante. As Sammy said, we started the year off a little a little tough, a little tough, a little rough, but Joe was a man and he took it and we moved on from there. That is the sign of a good and effective leader. That if we make a mistake, we move on from that and we practice for the next year. And that's the type of leader that Joe is. So Joe, the Hall of Fame committee is very pleased and honored to have you go in this year's class of the Philadelphia Mummers String Band Association Hall of Fame. You got it, cuz?
I got it. but I am. You know, wow. Not for nothing. Yo, I'm humbled by all of this, and for me to stand in front of Durning String Band right now, to, you know, Sammy, Danny, I want to thank you guys. I appreciate everything you've done, you know, to help Durning String Band, to be involved with Durning String Band, you know, and all our hard work that we try to do to keep this tradition alive. Like you say, I mean, things don't always go the way you want them to, but we find a way to keep on making this thing work. So, you know, I'm not the captain just to be the captain. I'm the captain to represent Durning String Band, but I wouldn't be the captain without Durning String Band. Durning String Band makes it. I really have to say I want to thank each and every one of you for allowing me to be your captain and to support all that you do for me. And right back at you. I love each and every one of you. And whatever you need, I'm always here. One more, cuz.
Say very similar comments. Thank you very much to Sammy and Danny for the recognition that you've given me, and also Joe together here. And it's been a proud tradition for me for 54 years to be a member of the Durning String Band. As you know, unfortunately I do have some health problems and I'm not able to march up the street with you, but my heart is with the Durning String Band. And this very special occasion here tonight is just overwhelming to me. Overwhelming. I'm really surprised and shocked at this. And I really appreciate the recognition. And I'd like to see, you know, Durning go up the street for the, 91st year it's going to be, keeping this tradition going. As Joe said, we've all said, this is a family band. This is a family band, and the family camaraderie and friendship within the band is what keeps this going, keeps it alive. So I'm very proud to see that the band is keeping on going here and continuing with the tradition. So again, thank you very much for the recognition for me. Again, the family thing, I would not have been able to make it for all these years. So they supported me, and I appreciate that very much. So, thank you very much.